Hello and welcome. This is Legal Clinic. This is the program where we educate and enlighten you on your rights and the need to protect them. This program is made possible by the NTA Port Harcourt Network Center, FIDA, and Thav TV. This program will run every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. on NTA and Thav TV. We are glad you found time to join us once again. My name is Sophia Afolayan. I am the Publicity Secretary of FIDA Rivers State Branch. My guest in this section is Mrs. Judith Adeniji. Mrs. Judith Adeniji is the head of the Correctional Center Committee of FIDA Rivers State Branch. Mrs. Judith, you're welcome.
It's my pleasure.
We'll get this conversation started in a moment. Please stay with us. Going through it before now, but they want to really understand that these are the reasons why they are still there. So let's just discuss, what are these societal norms?
These societal norms, so many of them,
yes,
it started from time immemorial.
Yeah.
It's a practice people didn't really know it's actually going to promote gender-based violence, and over time it started like the celebration of male preference or superiority, where men are being celebrated. If you give a birth, like I also learned that in Igbo land or Eastern Nigeria, part of Nigeria, where you give birth to a male child, a cow will be killed they will celebrate the male. They will do everything to celebrate the male. I also have cases where women give birth to a girl child. The husband abandons them in the hospital, leaving them behind. We also have situations where men actually play the role of a breadwinner. They are the one providing, forgetting that these women still go to firewood, they go to their cassava, bring their cassava from their farm and all that.
But then there are a lot of
to the home, but they believe the man is the head and is the breadwinner. And because this notion actually generated from the issue of bread price, payment of bread price, what are they paying for? The women are already seen as chattel, goods, like the man comes to buy a woman from her parents. So after buying you, all we do is for you to become my worker in the house. You become a staff. You cook food for the man. You make his bed. Then you continue producing, like
bearing children.
Bearing children, exactly, like the dogs. You get people get dogs to to have issues and bear children. And men also have right of inheritance, like African tradition. It's just now that the law has been passed in giving the women the sharing right. If no, women don't share anything, they don't take anything, because also they believe that is a man that will preserve the name of the family. What name are we preserving? That if the woman will go and marry and remaining the man,
remaining the male child.
Remaining the man, the male child or the man in the home, and is going to preserve the family's name. So those are some of these things that are actually giving rights to these societal norms that promote gender-based violence. Some of them, even in a typical African tradition, they believe we correction, or when you're training a child, is a way by way of violence. A man that grows up in a violent home where the father is always bullying or inflicting physical injury to the wife, to the children, what do you think will come up from that man?
Okay, so still on societal norms, I also believe that we have issues of forced marriage, early marriage, believing, like you have said anyway, you've stated this, that the girl child is believed to be a tool to be married away. Most people believe the girl child should not be schooled, as in should not be sent through school, but we thank God time has proved all this to be wrong, and a lot of parents now understand the need for their girl child and their girl children to be educated. We also have issues of societal norms such as barrenness, or seeing a woman who is childless as a woman, which makes her face gender-based violence and a lot of discrimination in the home. And we also have female genital mutilation, if I'm not mistaken. It's one of the societal norms that has promoted GBV, because FGM on its own, it's a form of gender-based violence.
It's a form of abuse.
It's a form of gender-based violence.
It's a form of abuse.
Right. Now we are seeing some of these societal norms. And we're coming to the very big one, which has become an issue in society. It's what we see. Everybody is a Christian. When you say a woman is going through challenges and you come to her, she'll tell you it is well. It is well. Everybody is, it is well. And nobody wants to speak up. So we know religion has a very large role to play in gender-based violence and the way it has gone far in society. Can you please throw more light, Mrs. Judith, on these religious tenets that have promoted gender-based violence so far?
Okay, thank you very much. When you talk about religious tenets, it's like religious principles, religious rules that has actually promoted gender-based violence. You know, before now, people see, they just believe everything that they say, because this is how it is. They look onto heaven, how to make heaven. And if they have issues, they confide in their man of God, in their pastors, in people who are in leadership positions, in church. They confide so much in them. Don't forget that when we talk about religions, we have other arm of it: Islamic religion, the pagan religion, and Christianity, but in this side of the world, it's like Christianity is most predominant.
Yeah.
So that is the one we are going to look at, the principle, how it promotes domestic violence. So as the complainants go to meet their men of God, their pastors, people they can actually confide in, to say, this is what I'm going through. There's a recent case of the singer, the gospel artist Osinachi. Actually, they said she actually confided in her pastor. But what they have to say, some of them misinterpret the Bible, or they quote the Bible to suit what they want to say. Every woman is a virtuous woman. Who is a virtuous woman? Proverb 31 is a Proverb 31 woman, a woman who ought to be submissive to her husband. You ought to be submissive to your abusive husband, no matter what you're facing. Some of them also see marriage, the sanctity of marriage, that is sacred. Marriage is sacred, is a private affair. You don't need to discuss it. Even most especially when you're not enjoying sex, you're not going to say it. When your husband,
it's even a taboo.
A taboo to exactly. You can't even open your mouth to say you are not enjoying sexual intercourse, or your husband is not having sexual intercourse with you, or your husband comes late. All they know is for you to be submissive. If you go back again, they'll say, sister, pray. Pray for him. Watch and pray. Be hopeful. God will turn things around. Sister, keep praying. It's only the living that can pray, because some of this domestic violence can even lead to death.
And I think the culture of silence has also increased the rates of promoted GBV, the culture of silence, which is also in church. And I also understand that one of it is the churches feeling that a woman who talks about the abuse she goes into the marriage, she's going through in the marriage, or apart from a woman, there are other persons in church who take advantage of their members, abuse them. Deacons abusing those who live with them, pastors and all that. And then we have the issue of don't say it because of the name of the church.
Exactly. So that membership, it will not affect the population
of the church.
Or membership. They don't want anything that will come and so that other members don't get to know what is going on. And funny enough, when these complainants are pastor's wife, deacon's wife, people who are in a realm of authority in church, leadership position in church, they don't want you to say it, because they will still go to the pulpit and preach. They will say, don't say it. You don't want this thing to go bad, or you want this thing to spoil. So they don't say, they keeping quiet. And one of those factors too, women who are in leadership position in churches, sometimes people there is nobody, even a child likes leadership. Everybody wants to be a leader. So women who are in leadership position in church,
they need to swallow everything
so that they will not be scraped of their leadership position. So they are not ready to speak out. They keep
want to manage it.
Yeah, they manage it, keep dying in silence, not until it gets degenerated. By then, if you're lucky enough, you walk out with your legs. If you're not lucky enough, your parents comes to, or your family comes to get your cups. Thank you.
Thank you, viewers, and I hope you are learning something from this discussion. We'll take a short break and we'll be back soon.
Will you sit down?
Oh no! You don't have to suffer such indignation anymore. Don't give room for any form of violence or human rights violation. You deserve the right to protect your right, and you must know your right. So break the silence now. FIDA, NTA and Thav TV will make it resonate through the nooks and crannies of your community. So tune in to NTA Port Harcourt Network Center or Thav TV YouTube channel every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. Equip yourself on your rights. Legal Clinic, promoting your rights for a safer and saner society. Join us.
Welcome back from the short break. Now we'll go on. Mr. Deniji, we're going to move now to the laws, or what can be done. Before we go into the laws, let's talk about the things that can be done to curb this menace of GBV as it affects women and children and girls in the society. So, what are these things? We have seen the religious angle of this whole drama. We are acting in the nation, in the state, in society of gender-based violence. We have seen all of these, and now we're going to be looking at what are those things we can possibly put in place to bring a stop, if not completely stopping it, to curb the menace of gender-based violence. Our guest is still in the studio, and she's going to be talking to us further on this. So like I said, Mrs. Adeniji, what are these things that can be put in place to curb, or that have been put in place? You know they are there, but most people do not know they are there.
Exactly.
So what can be done to curb GBV?
Oh, thank you very much. First and foremost, we have to identify stakeholders. Even the police is a stakeholder.
Health workers are also stakeholders.
Health workers are stakeholders. Office of the Public Defender. They are there. Office of the Public Defender. These people, they defend people who don't have legal representation. We have the LECON too. That is the Aid Council of Nigeria, LECON. They are there. These people are there. Health workers, service providers like NTA, Airtel, and so forth. Because sometimes this woman is being abused at night, and she needs to call somebody or somebody. So the service provider should also give us hotlines.
So we also have social workers, child protection officers,
child protection officers,
social welfare officers,
the Ministry of Social Welfare,
and rehabilitation.
They can also do. Those are stakeholders. Even FIDA is also one of the stakeholders.
Yes. We also have our partners, NAWOJ,
and all the Medical Women Association. All stakeholders need to put their hand on deck. Everybody will come with their own expertise to see how to curb this menace. Yeah.
So we have said that stopping it to an extent.
Yes.
We can't stop. We can't
eradicate.
We can't completely eradicate, but it can be put to a stop. With so much awareness.
It can be prevented.
Yes, with so much awareness and sensitizations, reason for why you see FIDA going out to schools, to churches, to communities. We were in Opobonkoro recently. We go to church. I'm sure some of our members were in the churches, and even when we go to the correctional center, which your committee heads, I'm sure a lot of sensitizations are being done to given to these inmates, so as to educate them, because most of them are not going to spend their entire lives in the correctional facilities.
Exactly.
So that when they come out, they can live in the society.
Of recent, our committee through FIDA Executive were able to also release some women who have been in custody only because their husband died, and they said that the one that killed the husband, and they were put into custody. They didn't know what to do. So through our committee, with the aid of FIDA Executive and others, we were able to put our house to order and see how to get them out of custody. And the only thing we did, even when we went to the community, they were very unaware. They didn't know what was going on and everything, because a woman that went to report that my husband is, they said, go and make a report. And before you know, police carried the woman, and all, they say, take your plea. And that was how she was reminded, not knowing that. So a woman who was supposed to be mourning her husband was actually reminded.
That's intimidation.
Yeah, intimidation.
And adding salt to
an injury. Yeah.
Wow. Now, I also believe provision of shelter for the vulnerable will go a long way. We applaud the Rivers State government in conjunction, and also the Ministry of Social Welfare, which has provided the shelter. And I know FIDA has a lot of women and children who are in that home for protective custody.
Yeah, those are, apart from stakeholders, we have legal instruments. We have legal instruments, because the difference between norm, societal norm, religious norm, and what you can with law is that law, there is punishment. There is punishment, prescribed punishment to offenders or abusers. So these laws are like checkmates to
gender-based violence.
Yes, gender-based violence. These laws are checkmates to gender-based violence. And like before now, you will have the Universal Declaration
Yeah.
The Universal
Declaration of Human Rights.
Human rights.
Yes.
It's there. It came in to say women's rights are human rights.
Yes.
Once you're a human being, these rights are inherent to you. You are born with these rights, and we have
the CEDAW too.
Yeah,
the Convention on the Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women.
The CEDAW is there. We also have the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 34, which actually talks about right to dignity. Everybody, of a human person. We have right to dignity to our person and our body. Like you talked about female genital mutilation. If you have a right to dignity, nobody can just take your private part and start cutting it. And that is, they say that is those places they cut off. That is where the real onion is. That is where people who really actually enjoy sexual intercourse enjoy it. But now most women, you marry them, they are like vegetables. They no longer enjoy sexual intercourse. So we have the child rights law 2009. We have the VAP Act of 2015, and we have the VAP law of Rivers State that has been domesticated in Rivers State in 2020.
We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the VAP law. Please stay tuned. The VAP law of Rivers State 2020. Very interesting law. And you know, a lot of people are still very ignorant of this law, and we would like to throw more light on that law today. We are laying emphasis on the VAP law of 2020. So what are some of these provisions of the VAP law that protects victims of GBV?
Thank you very much. The VAP law is a very beautiful law when you talk about gender-based violence, because there are some of the provisions that actually protects gender-based violence. Like when you talk about spousal rape, people don't seem to understand it, or they don't know what you're talking about.
And the VAP law provides for it.
Yes, provide for it. When you talk about intimidation, physical infliction of physical injury, when you talk about deprivation of liberty, when you talk of economic deprivation, when you talk about even administering substance that could cause distress to somebody. So the VAP law has so many things. Even incest, you see it in the VAP. Incest, you see it in the VAP law. And another beautiful thing about the VAP law, which you know that is actually directed towards gender-based violence, is the protective order the court has to issue. The woman, the court will grant the victim or the survivor a protective order, and there are other rehabilitation, maybe reintegration into the society, which the court will also grant. And the court, the offender or abuser will be registered into the name of the offender, will be put into the register, offenders register.
That was a registered sexual offender.
By
the Ministry of Justice, by the police, or the Ministry of Social Welfare.
Yes, in every public place, so that it will stop committing such offense. And you know, FIDA actually have been advocating for this. So that VAP law makes it very easy. That so somebody will not come and will not say, why are you putting my name here? VAP law has given us that right to do that.
The parastatals and stakeholders the rights to publish such.
So apart from that, the victims are not being compensated.
Yes, that's the right of the victim.
The victims, especially victims of rape, they are not being are not being compensated. But you know, before it's also difficult, because sometimes when you go to court, we get frustrated when you don't see the complainant any longer. But when they know that there is a section or arm of the law that gets them compensated, I think they will be willing to go on with their matter. Then apart from that, police has a duty. I don't want you to ask me how police will get their money for, you know.
I know, because the law says that the police should even give some money to the victim.
Exactly, but when you look at it, you ask the police, where can we get this money? But I also learned that police has some fund that is being allocated to them from federal level for them to do this, because they ought to give the victim money to even relocate to a place of their choice, take the victim to their residence safe place, take the victim to their residence to pick their property and all that, and personal belonging. Then educate the victims of their rights, that they even have a right of criminal proceeding against their abuser. So the VAP law is a very beautiful one, and even the VAP law talks about the state giving the victim some little micro credit finance facilities. And even if you want to go to school, there is provision for that. Right now in the state, we will have a safe home where victims can even run to at any time. Unlike before, it's very difficult.
And I love this section of the VAP law which says that no person who has been, no complainant shall be expelled, disengaged, suspended, or punished. That's the person who has been abused. In case you are just joining us, this is Legal Clinic, where we teach you on your rights and enlighten you on how to protect them and to provide solutions to them as it affects you. Well, you can reach us on our social media handles at FIDA Rivers State Branch on Facebook, and on Instagram our handle is FIDA Rivers State Branch. And our hotlines are 070599977721. Again, I repeat, 070599977721 and 08033808913 for the NTA. And for Thav TV, their contact is thavmedia.com. 09061435141. These numbers are displayed on the screen. Please do well to reach us. Thank you for being with us today. Hope to see you in our next episode. Bye.